In case you didn't know, Knights of the Old Republic, the legendary classic Star Wars RPG, is getting a new remake. We haven't heard too much about it recently, but some insiders begin leaking some info online about how the game will actually work. We have some story and gameplay details to share in this video, but first, if this is your first time watching the channel, let me know if you'd like to see more by liking this video. Now with that out of the way, let's dive straight into my thoughts. First, I'm going to get you all up to speed on what info we know about the game as of right now, since there's only a little bit out there. We have a cinematic trailer that's playing in the video right now that was released at the PlayStation Showcase about 2 years ago, with nothing else being officially released. However, we do know that, like every other Star Wars game right now, that the project is going through development hell. The project was leaked to have been delayed indefinitely and in danger of being canceled altogether. However, since I got some new leaks for you today, I assume that's not the case. But since then, the project has moved from Aspyr Media to Saber Interactive because of conflicting interests for the project that we have more info on today. Apparently, the reason that Aspyr and Sony walked away from the project is because they thought the game wasn't cinematic enough and had a different vision. It sounds like to me that they wanted to make a more action-adventure type of game like Jedi Survivor, while Saber wanted it to be a true RPG remake. I believe this is definitely the right choice. This will appease the old fans as well as bring in new fans to the genre. I'm excited to see how this turns out. But now that you're up to date, let's talk about some of the new leaks that came out. Everyone is talking about this right now, so there isn't any official source I could find, but a bunch of different industry analysts and news outlets have been covering this, so take that as you will. I'm sure someone will post the source in the comment section down below. However, we are going to start off with some of the behind the scenes news. Embracer, parent company of the Saber Interactive studio, had a question asked about it during their Q4 report. CEO Lars Wingefors, I definitely butchered that, so I'm sorry, sees that a big game from them will release in mid-2024. In response to the remake, he said specifically, my favorite question. I have no further comments. Take that as you will, but it sounds we're a little bit over a year away from their targeted release window. However, with all of the development issues and lack of communication and promotion, I would be surprised if it does actually meet this window. Analyst Roberto Serrano has backed up and agreed that the KOTOR Remake should be coming out in the next few years, although he says it could be anywhere from April 1st, 2024 to March 31st, 2025. I personally am leaning towards a 2025 release, but just knowing that there is some momentum behind the game finally is a really good sign. Now finally, let's get into the meat and potatoes about the gameplay and story leaks of this video. According to Stars Council's insiders claim that quests, original mini-games, and character stories will be expanded upon, some heroes will have their genders changed, and the overall story will remain intact. Now, this is a pretty interesting scoop in my opinion. The quests and minigames are part of it, sure, and that sounds great for the OG fans. However, the gender swapping and story details are probably the biggest thing that we've ever heard about this game. I think that it's really great that they were keeping the main story as it was. The game was praised as one of the best games of all time, so keeping it as similar as possible is probably the right decision if I'm being honest. However, I'm sure people will have a field day with the gender bending side of this leak. I can't wait to see those rage bait YouTube thumbnails calling the game woke with edits of Kathleen Kennedy. I will say I have barely played KOTOR and I plan on playing it soon, so I probably can't speak on even who would have their genders changed or how big of an impact that would even have. But since it's an RPG, I can see it working. That just is something we have to wait and see how they handle. Underneath this tweet, they say the original cast will return except for those who have passed away obviously, and Darth Malak. Additionally, they will elaborate more on the combat system. It reportedly will be comparable to Final Fantasy VII Remake's combat system, with the added turn-based elements that will make it similar to the original RPG. While I know not everyone loves this style of combat, I think that they have a chance to make this really special and hopefully make new and old fans satisfied. Now, how do you feel about these leaks and updates? Please let me know in the comment section down below, and if you enjoyed, please subscribe to the channel to keep us going towards 8,000 subscribers. We're so close, and every one of you helps. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.